Hello everybody, it's GirlGotGame, and welcome back to Gilded Shadows. Today we begin the journey to Jack's sweet ending. So, we are in Chapter 1. The traits I have for Morgan are the polar opposite of what she had for the passionate ending. So she is now cautious, flexible, and analytical. So we're going to get little changes in monologue and dialogue because of this, which is probably why things have stopped for me right off the get-go. Like I said, I'm in chapter 1. The dialogue stopped for some inner monologue, because she's kind of more internally thinking now, I assume. The other things I did is I didn't meet Jack in the common route before he came to save Morgan, so that didn't happen. Rory is still safe, and otherwise I think everything's the same so far, which is to say not much at all. Alright, so let's begin, and we'll see how far we get between different choices. Had my access been totally cut somehow? It was possible they did it while I was unconscious for some reason, though I wasn't sure what kind of method they'd have used to do it. Even so, it could have been a preventative to keep me from being tracked. Oh right, her communications have been cut. Not yet. By now, I'd be listed as a missing person somewhere. Nano-tracking was illegal, except in extraordinary situations, so I wasn't confident the safety department would implement it to find a missing student. But I was important to some groups, Endgame among them, and they might not be inclined to obey standard protocols. I'd have to ask Jack about it. Speaking of Jack, I wonder where he is. Okay, man, it's still going. This is quite different already. I couldn't imagine him dumping me here and leaving. It made little sense after all the trouble he'd gone through. He must be nearby somewhere. I got out of bed, taking care to move slowly just in case. Okay, not yet. As I stood, I realized my clothes had been changed at some point, something I hadn't realized the last time I got up. These clothes were ill-fitting and a little worn, but clean. It would be nice to get something that fits, though. Clutching the loose neck of my shirt a little closer, I made my way to the door, relieved to find it still unlocked. And now? No, not yet. Unless, hold on. Ah, it just jumps over it. I got bamboozled with the controls. Alright, mouse for the win. So, she heals people with her Psi?
That's about the gist of it, yeah.
That's incredible. I didn't know something like that was possible. You said it was a non-standard ability?
Most rooks can only use biokinesis on themselves. That includes for regeneration. In general, using telekinesis on a living person is pretty tough. It requires a lot of precision if you don't want to seriously hurt them. But for rooks, it's almost instinctive the way we can apply it to our own bodies. For someone to have the skill to use it on others is unheard of. Cell can be crotchety, but she's been a literal lifesaver here.
Healing people with Psi. That's amazing. Okay. First choice. Alright. Are we probably flexible because we're not emotional anymore, I'm assuming? Yes. No more emotions. This is the court, right? You said something about Cordis. Is that a city?
Not quite. The building you're in right now is what most people call Cordis, or sometimes Cordis Atrium.
Wonder if this will... No, okay, so we just skipped the whole talk about her powers not being just amazing, but also destructive, and we just skipped right to, like, just the facts. His old stuff? I glanced down at the ratty shirt I was wearing. That explained why it was so big on me. I appreciate you lending it to me.
Not a problem. It's just old stuff I don't wear anymore anyway.
He stood and stretched. That's funny, she was like so much more chill about wearing his clothes this time around. I love it.
If you want, there's a shower attached to your room. Through there. But you can leave it until after the tour if you'd prefer.
Thank you, Jack. Really.
No need to thank me, Butterfly. I'm just doing what needs to be done.
He left me alone to finish eating after that. There we go. Okay. Tour time. Something like what? Okay, Kesa cut our communications. I thought it might be something like that. Is that... Nope.
We'll get you a net interface device. They're much easier to safeguard than full system access. It might be something you need to use for a while.
I understand. And... thank you. For everything, really. Okay.
Well, I can't take all the credit, Butterfly. Kesa did most of it.
Interesting. So... I think the first time we had this conversation, he was looking kind of down about it, feeling guilty. This time he's just like, well, I can't take credit for everything, because Kesa did most of it. About that, I've been wondering why, actually.
Why what?
Why Kesa helped me. Why he's still helping me. It's not something you did out of the kindness of your heart, right? I mean, it would be nice to think you had entirely selfless motives, but that doesn't make sense logically. No one that day had pure motives. Even so, you were the only one who was upfront about it.
Would be nice if I could have just swooped in to save you because it was the right thing to do.
The result is more or less the same. But if that wasn't it, why were you there to pick me up then?
The orders I had were to stop Endgame or anyone else from acquiring the new Queen rank.
Did those orders include using any and all means to succeed?
Officially, yes. But from the start, Kesa and I were determined to bring you here safely. Which I happen to believe was in your best interest anyway.
I thought Kesa was the one in charge here, but you're acting like it's someone else.
Kesa's father.
Karis Fianchetto. I knew the name since the Fianchetto family was famous even on the day side. They were involved in some of Delphine's politics, but they were also said to run multiple charities for the betterment of Delphine. I was getting the sense something else was going on here, though. Are you going to continue to be cryptic about it, or do I get to understand what's going on?
Sorry, Morgan. I don't mean to be cryptic. I just didn't want to dump this on you so soon. But Kesa warned me you'd figure it out or start asking questions. It's always annoying when he turns out to be right.
It's funny, it's almost like Morgan's more like Kesa for the sweet ending than like Jack. I'm enjoying this conversation, though. Jack, what is the real story here? What haven't you told me yet?
The Fianchettos are the ones at the top of Crimson, Morgan. And that's why Karis was interested in you as a new Queen-ranked Esper.
Like... the Crimson?
Listen, the situation is complicated, and you need to hear all the details before you come to any conclusions.
He stepped back and ran a hand through his hair, letting out a sigh.
Come on. I know a good place to talk.
Okay. And now we're back. What did he say? Okay, Karis wanted us dead. My hands gripped the railing tighter when he said that. I'd known that some of those chasing me down were thinking along those lines. I wasn't surprised the head of Crimson was one of them, but it seemed like my decision to go with Jack brought me nearer to danger instead of further from it. And the logical conclusion of that was that Jack should have been the one to carry out that order. That sent a flurry of conflicted feelings through me. So why am I alive?
Kesa convinced his father it was enough if we kept you away from Endgame. And beyond that it would be beneficial if you came here. In the end, Karis told us to just get the job done. He left it to us to decide how.
Are we... Okay, we're back now. I thought that sounded a bit familiar. I'd never wanted to have to fight for something in that sense, but I guess no one else wanted to do it either. Which sense is that? Oh, like fight to survive, basically. I couldn't help but wonder if there was still some way to get back to my old life. But it felt more and more like that possibility had slipped away entirely, leaving a murky, uncertain future in its place. I didn't know what to do with that. Okay. Except go to bed. I let out a soft sigh, relieved I didn't need to argue with her again. Celeste is nowhere to be found. She meant well, but I couldn't stay in bed forever. It was isolating and lonely. But arguing with her over it was frustrating. I wasn't sure how long she was going to insist I needed rest. Especially when I was fine already. Heyo, you. Have you tried holding your ground with Celeste?
All the time. If I can't win, I just run.
Fleeing through Cordis seems like it will definitely cause a stir.
Nah. If Celeste is the one chasing you, I think everyone will understand.
I don't know how I feel about that. He grinned at me as we stopped near an empty sofa.
You're really feeling okay now?
Fine. Completely. Despite what some people might have you think. Okay, last time we were emotional. We never did go stargazing with him, I realized. That memory gets to stay pure with Kesa. That's good. Yep, I'm gonna tell him to stop laughing this time, even though I'm not confident. Stop that! I shoved his arm lightly as we walked. He continued chuckling anyway, not that it surprised me.
Sorry, your reactions are just hilarious. I take it you've never been to this side before. Not even Pythia or one of the other major cities.
What do you think?
I guess someone like you never had a reason or desire to travel over here.
I didn't appreciate the way he said, someone like you. He didn't say it with disdain, but somehow it still came across as condescending. But I couldn't deny that he was right, on both counts. Even if I wanted to, it's not that simple right now anyway. Anytime tensions ramp up, it gets harder to go back and forth. And you're right. As a student, there wasn't much reason to come here.
You can't say we have a bustling tour industry either. Not here in Chestershire anyway. Not really in Delphine as a whole.
It's not like Delphine has a great reputation.
Well, it's not unwarranted. All things considered, it's not exactly a decent holiday spot. Not for people used to sparkling cities and sunlight.
I don't know that we expect our cities to be sparkling, but I think people like to have some measure of confidence they can walk around without getting mugged.
Stay in the upper wards of Pythia, and you'd be fine. Elsewhere, I suppose I can't make promises.
Including here, of course.
You can see that for yourself, right?
It does have that feeling of someone waiting in the next alley to jump out at us, or else offer us some contraband for purchase.
Like I said, you'll be fine with me.
Which means if I wasn't with you, I'd be in danger of being mugged or swindled?
Not necessarily. This neighborhood isn't as bad as it looks. It's not like people get mugged 20 hours a day, 6 days a week here.
I like that just small insert of, like, time in this universe. Is like, 20 hours a day, 6 days a week, instead of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I like that. It's subtle, but it's there.
But there are okay areas and less okay areas. Problem is, there aren't clear markers between them, you know? There aren't any distinct borders to territories.
Territories... for groups like Crimson, you mean?
Not Crimson, not anyone that big. Chestershire is considered neutral ground for the four families, so none of them claim territory here. But smaller groups and gangs? Sure. They mark out areas they control, and if you wander into them, it's a problem. People who live here know what belongs to who, and they know how to keep their heads down.
And people who don't?
Well, that's why you're here with me.
Does the court have its own territory? Yeah, okay, we're still not. I thought this was all new.
Yes. And no. We have areas our people look out for, but we're not a gang, and we're not tightly organized outside of Cordis, so it's not the same. Other groups know where they're likely to run into our people, and they mostly stay away.
The court has ties with Crimson. Does that mean other groups here are also affiliated with larger groups?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. Families like Noir or Crimson aren't interested in the petty stuff that goes on here. You're really curious about all this, worrying about being in such a dangerous place.
Of course I am. I never particularly wanted to live in a place replete with gang violence and fighting.
Well, none of us really want to live here either. None of us want to deal with rivalries or fighting or any of the other crap that goes on in places like this. But a lot of us are just trying to scrape by from one day to the next. That includes people in those gangs. People live in the way that makes them feel safest. Sometimes you join up with a not-so-savory group because groups are stronger than individuals. Sometimes people need money and selling contraband is the only way to get it. Or attacking others is the only way to do it.
I can sympathize with individuals who are at the end of their rope, making desperate choices. But someone is sitting at the top of all that, taking advantage. Those people I can't forgive.
That's true on the day side too.
I guess it's a little more in the open here.
That it is.
Oh, interesting. We have a whole new branch of choices that we didn't have the first time. It would have been better to keep living in ignorance. Oof. It's unpleasant seeing it so overtly, and there would have been an emotional one if I was emotional, but I don't know what it is. For this, I need to do the stubborn one, which is interesting. I would have thought I would be cautious. Okay. It's unpleasant seeing it so overtly.
Unpleasant, but maybe necessary.
For me?
Sometimes we all need a change of perspective, Morgan. Even the best of us. I hate that all this ruined your plans and changed your life. And yeah, a part of me wishes it had never happened to you, because you could have gone on living in the same willful ignorance as everyone else on the day side. But I also struggle with that, because I can't be upset someone else had their eyes open to what's going on over here. And I can't be sad that we have one more person who can help us make some kind of difference.
Is that what you want me to do?
I think it would be great if that's what you did, yeah.
What kind of difference do you think I can make against this? I gestured around us at everything that made this place what it was, because fixing it was beyond me. Beyond most people. Interesting. She doesn't even want to consider the option of trying to fix it with this personality that she has. The other one, she's like, everyone makes a difference. Even if it's small, you can make a change. This one's like, how do you fix all of this? I'm just one person, Jack. I couldn't even protect myself or my own dreams.
You might not have been able to stand against everything that was coming at you in that moment, but one person can make a big difference here. Especially a person like you.
I wasn't sure I agreed with him. What difference did he think I could make?
Sorry, Butterfly. I know this isn't a pleasant thing to talk about, but it's reality in Chestershire.
I am keenly aware of that fact.
Look, it's not something for you to worry about right now.
I have nothing else to worry about right now, Jack. Sometimes it's nice to have a clear vision of what's ahead, or a plan how to handle it. Not having one makes me anxious. We might be back. We are back now. For a little bit. I keep thinking of that situation at the vivarium where I lost control. The thought of trying to practice and bringing Cordis down on everyone's head because I screw up is a little worrying.
I admit that would probably be bad.
Probably.
But you don't have to learn to be a super weapon. No one's asking you to work on cybursts of that magnitude.
This time, which is appreciated.
That said, the more practice you have, the less likely such a loss of control will happen again. And you're surrounded by people who can help.
Okay, we're back again. I don't think it matters much whether or not I like it. Nothing changes either way.
Jack, what did you do to put our little day beauty in such a mood? Her mood was fine until you showed up. Sorry you don't like our little city, then.
I didn't say I disliked it. It's just about what I expected.
I suppose it's good you kept your expectations low.
Yes, about that, though. Are there police to call? Rowan laughed at the very suggestion of it.
We don't have anything like that here, little flower.
Morgan is fine, thank you. If you would be so kind. Rowan smirked and fell into step beside me as we headed back to Cordis.
Not a fan of nicknames.
Not when they sound like insults. He laughed again.
I'll remember that.
I hope so. Will Jack be okay on his own?
He can handle things like this with his eyes shut, little Morgan. Don't forget, this is our world.
The dayside was my world, and I still ran into a situation I couldn't handle alone.
I guess that's true too.
I seemed to amuse this man greatly because he somehow laughed at everything I said. The walk back seemed short, maybe because Rowan didn't talk much after that. Alright. Interesting. He didn't have to, like, threaten her or convince her to go back this time. I could imagine it would be a matter of changing the shape and color. For imitating? Synchronization, right? How to achieve that, I had no idea. And how far could I take that idea? Could I match the vibrancy of someone's psi as well? If vibrancy correlated to strength, I should be able to. Queens could mimic normal human psi waves. And what did mimicking really mean? Could I partially mimic? Could I mimic, say, Celeste's healing ability but enhance it? There were many variables, and mimicking would require me to specifically experiment to learn what was fully possible. The possibilities felt endless. Girl, you don't even know. I wasn't ready for that yet, I didn't think. Okay. Comments like, fancy dreams of studying rocks. Sometimes Rowan made comments like that, and I couldn't tell if he was just making commentary or trying to provoke me, so I wasn't sure how to respond at first. After a moment, I responded carefully. Dreams shouldn't be a privilege reserved for people who grow up on the dayside. If they are, it's evidence how severely the Delphinian government has failed its citizens, and probably that the Triad has failed to help them do otherwise. If you couldn't have bigger aspirations than finding food, it should infuriate everyone. It infuriates me. For a moment, Rowan stared before breaking into laughter.
You know, Morgan, trying to bully you is no fun at all. You take everything way too seriously.
Yeah, my brothers used to say that too.
Oh? I figured you for a spoiled only child.
Really? I come across as spoiled? He snickered and didn't respond. I'm one of 5, thank you very much.
Youngest?
I have one younger brother, actually. What about you?
I'm the oldest of 6. A couple of them are still pretty young.
I couldn't help but wonder if they were part of why he left school so early. Here's hoping your siblings will live in a world better than the one you've known until now. One where they get to have fancy dreams.
Ever the optimist, aren't you?
It's better than the alternative of assuming the future is only going to be worse than what we have. Okay, and we're back. I like that alternative Rowan conversation. The tunnels were clearly artificial, carved directly from the limestone. Fascinated, I set my hand on the wall, noting a faint vibration, and it was warmer than I expected. Huh. I couldn't imagine the dome's environmental systems reached down here, but it was possible heat from the city could penetrate this deep. I glanced back to the stairs that led up to Cordis, but decided to stay a little longer, just to have a quick look around. Is this all new? This is all new. Okay, I thought so. One source said the catacombs were here when the colonists arrived. That would make them thousands of years old. It wasn't as if I expected to find ancient carvings or mummies, but that didn't stop me from wanting to poke in and see what else the deep shadows hid. I imagined if anything valuable was down here, it had been removed long ago, but the place itself was interesting enough to captivate me. Knowing I should probably go back, I pressed in a little further anyway. Just a few more minutes. I'd already gone beyond where I imagined the others tended to come, far past the open area where they stow junk from Cordis. I wonder if there are other openings to this place elsewhere in the city. I could tell I was heading deeper beneath the surface due to the downward slope of the floor, too. How fascinating. Wait. There was something up ahead. A light low on the... A light low on the wall? A low light on the wall, maybe. Or it could be a light that's low on the wall. I quickened my steps, and when I reached it, crouched to inspect. That was... circuitry. Are we confident or cautious this time? Ooh, we're cautious this time. Part of me wanted to explore further. This place was incredible, and I had so many questions. What was it? Why was it there? I still couldn't even get my mind around the fact a labyrinth like that existed at all. Those symbols meant there was something Arayan down here. Arayan technology and civilization had mystified scientists for generations. There were theories, so many theories, but no real answers. And yet, there was no indication anyone had ever been down here to study it or preserve these ruins. Given the desperation to understand Arayan technology, it was difficult to believe. I wanted to know more. But the way ahead was dark, and I doubted it was wise to wander around alone without even a light. For now, I should go back. Besides, someone else might know more about this place, so I could get more information before coming back. But I am coming back. Arayan culture might not have been my area of interest, but that didn't mean I'd pass up this chance. With reluctance, I turned back, intending to... Ah! I staggered back, a hand to my chest as I glared at him. Jack! Don't sneak up on me like that! He gave me an annoyingly cocky grin. I punched his arm reflexively, because that was the sort of stupid stunt one of my brothers would have pulled. That only made him laugh harder.
Sorry about that, Butterfly. I didn't realize I'd startle you, but this place does make you jumpy, doesn't it?
It's not this place, but the fact you sneaked up on me!
I didn't sneak, really. You just seemed pretty engrossed in what you were doing. And to that point, what were you even doing?
I grabbed his arm, pulling him towards the symbols I found as excitement replaced fear. Jack! Do you know what this place is? There are Arayan symbols down here! Do you know anything about it? At best, his reaction was mild curiosity. At worst, not even that.
I know a little, but not much beyond that it's creepy as hell.
It's not creepy. It's amazing.
It's creepy.
It's not creepy to scientists and historians, which is why I'm baffled how it's abandoned like this. It's too significant a find for the government not to know about.
Oh, they know all right. But these kinds of ruins run all under Delphine. You go a little further in, and it's just endless corridors covered in those symbols.
My face must have lit up because he gave me a very annoyed look.
No.
Jack?
Look, Morgan. Let me tell you a little something I doubt you know. These same ruins exist on the day side. They exist everywhere, under dozens of cities. They are massive. And there were people who tried to study them, map them out. First, they haven't ever found anything interesting down here. So far, all the good stuff is above ground. Down here, it's just open rooms and hallways. Second, some of the original expedition teams were lost. Never heard from again. Gone. There are old security systems. The corridors have a tendency to rearrange themselves randomly. And they react weirdly to psi energy.
But... I gestured frantically towards the yawning darkness ahead of us, words failing me.
Okay, that look on your face is pretty cute, Butterfly. But you're not going to explore this place.
But...
If you want to poke around sometime, you can try to get someone else to come with you. With equipment, lights at the very least. And you won't go beyond that room. Ever.
There is Arayan script, Jack. In the walls!
Yes, I can see that.
I sighed, rubbing my head. He really didn't get it. I love when archaeologist Morgan comes out, and she's like, but looky! When she wasn't as interested, Jack was like, I'll come down with you. We can explore a little bit. It's fine. This time he's like, get someone else, nerd. Did I read the last thing? Yeah, he really didn't get it. No, maybe he did. Even I knew array technology was dangerous, but this was not technology. This was a building of some kind.
Listen, you want to know why you've never heard of this before? It's because on the day side, they keep it quiet and guard every single entrance to keep people out. You know what can happen if someone activates a relic. No one wants to know what would happen if this place was activated. That said, on the night side, no one gives a shit. People wander in and out all the time. The fact that you want to go poking around is mind-boggling.
I literally wanted to spend my life poking around places like this. Not Arayan specifically, but still.
Let's just go upstairs for now and you can give some thought to how you want to approach it. At the very least, I would recommend waiting until you're more confident in controlling your Psi. Because if you activate it unintentionally down here, it could get you killed.
Fine. Fine. Threat of imminent death was probably a good reason to get back upstairs. Are we back? Yes. For a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm enthusiastic about being here, no, given the circumstances. I'm not saying I hate it, but we've had this talk before, and there hasn't been enough time for my feelings to change. I'm still conflicted, and I still miss home.
I know we can't expect you to love it here. Not that there's much to love anyway. I guess I was hoping it would grow on you.
It's hard for it to grow on me with the way all the people who live here constantly disparage it.
Well, you've seen what it's like.
I have. But if you constantly tell me it's all bad, I'm not sure how you expect any enthusiasm on my part.
I suppose that's true. I guess it's just habit by now.
But I don't think it's all bad. I mean, there are fascinating ruins below the surface. And the people here are okay. Some of them. The ones that don't sneak up on you in the dark.
Hey now, I didn't sneak up on you.
Sure, you just walked very quietly and didn't warn me you were there. Are we back? Yes. Ooh, are we doing any affection stuff? Not right now, anyway. Not right now. We gotta change the subject. What was the... Oh, how amazing he is. Okay. So she's just like, moving on. Okay. Anyway. I couldn't stop myself from grinning at the exasperated look I got from deliberately ignoring his flirting. Heh. Heh heh. Did Kesa get the chance to relay my message to my parents?
He did. I don't think he's heard back just yet, but I'll let you know as soon as he does.
Okay, thank you. I was looking forward to the day we could stop sending messages this way, though I understood the need. Nope. Ooh, I guess we spent a lot more time teasing before.
How is Sylvia's journal? Still finding it useful?
I think so, yeah. She put in a lot of practical explanations.
I was worried that because she wasn't a fairy queen like you, it might not be as helpful.
I'm not even sure how much difference that actually makes.
It has to make at least some difference. I mean, Kesa wouldn't have been able to detect you if you weren't F-class, and Magnus couldn't detect you because you were.
That may be true, but as far as how my abilities work, I'm not sure there's that much difference.
Well, I guess we might never know, since you're the only F-class queen so far.
That we know of. Girl can see into the future already. I can't help but think there'll be others if there aren't already, especially considering that F-class espers are becoming more prevalent.
But for now, you're the only one.
I have been wondering about something from the journal.
Oh? Something you think I can help with?
Something only you can help with. I've been wondering why you didn't mention you were a part of Endgame. You had to know I'd find out from reading Sylvia's journal.
Ah, that. It's nothing major. There wasn't really time to go into my sad backstory. And I guess I didn't want you to think I was biased, and that's the only reason I was trying to get you here. Though I guess I am biased. But I also believe you're better off here than there.
We were both silent for a while as I thought about that.
If you want to ask about it, you can. I reckon you've worked out some of what happened by now.
I worked out some of it, yes. Not all of it. I want to ask about it, but maybe not yet. Maybe when I reach the end of the journal.
Whenever you're ready, Butterfly.
He said that, but I had to wonder if he was as ready to tell me as he thought he was. For now, I just want to focus on getting better at using Psi.
Then that's what you should do.
I couldn't tell whether he looked relieved or disappointed.